Aspartame is an artificial sweetener found in thousands of products worldwide, and chances are you are consuming it. It's added to sugar-free gum, juice beverages, tabletop sweeteners like Equal and NutraSweet. It's in cereals, soft drinks, yogurt, breath mints, multivitamins, wine coolers, and even over-the-counter medicines. The toxic long-term effects of aspartame are often dismissed as a hoax by the sweetener industry. However, numerous independent controlled studies using human subjects have concluded that aspartame is deadly. Now, there's a number of studies that claim that aspartame is completely safe to consume, but the vast majority of those studies were conducted by, well, you guessed it, the aspartame industry. In fact, groups like Monsanto, J.D. Searle, and ILSI concluded that aspartame posed no health risk. But that's about as credible as Marlboro, Camel, and Winston, dismissing the link between cigarette smoking and cancer.
Tastes good like a cigarette should.
Have you heard of aspartame?
Yes, I've heard of it before.
Have you heard good things or bad things?
I hear mostly bad things about it.
What kind of bad things?
Just like it's an artificial sweetener and it's bad for your health and you should try to stay away.
I've heard it's an artificial sweetener and I'm guilty of drinking beverages sweetened with it. However, it degenerates and it does harmful things.
What do you think about aspartame?
I don't like it. It gives me headaches.
They did studies on rats. It supposedly causes cancer.
Even Fox News recently reported in 2005 that artificial sweeteners had been linked to a wide range of cancers after studying involving rats. So these rats actually had tumors the size of golf balls. So does that concern you when you hear stuff like that?
Greatly, yes. And the FDA is supposed to be protecting us from things like cancer, not giving it to us and telling us it's safe.
You cannot go to the grocery store now and buy any type of even regular sugar gum that hasn't had aspartame added to it. In the 1970s, Searle tried to get it approved, and they couldn't. It took them 3 separate times because in their own studies with monkeys, large portions of them that were fed it died and contracted cancer. Now we have mainstream news articles, and the EU has done a major study finding lower birth weights, early birth, and yes, miscarriages from women that drink aspartame-laden soft drinks like Coke Zero.
Do you think that aspartame should be on the market today?
No.
Why not?
Because it hasn't been demonstrated to be safe.
The FDA looked at the research and in 1975 put aspartame's approval on hold. It set up an independent panel of doctors to study aspartame. In 1980, that public board of inquiry unanimously ruled aspartame should not go on the market. Edith was drinking a cup of low-calorie hot chocolate that night. Aspartame made it sweet. And Johnson says aspartame made her sick.
All of a sudden, I couldn't see. My eyes went out of focus, and it was like my vision became quite blurred.
And you think it's because of aspartame?
I think it's very deliberately because of aspartame, yes.
It was terrifying. Kate Randall thought she was going crazy.
I started popping in my hands and twitching in my feet, my legs, my knees, my upper legs, and shoulders and arms and everywhere.
Many of these individuals who have been aspartame reactors have tested themselves 5, 10, 20 times. Every time getting the same response, and then they realized that this was a legitimate cause and effect relationship.
What is aspartame? It is the fecal matter of the E. coli bacteria. They took it and genetically engineered it. They could feed it toxic waste, and then it defecates aspartame. And it has so many bad health effects, it's just unspeakable.
How do you think a product like that was managed to be approved by the FDA?
Oh, I think there's loopholes to everything.
I say shut the FDA down, shut down any government agency that's not doing its job.
Would you think that possibly the FDA is corrupt?
I'm going to go ahead and say no. I trust the FDA with my health.
Do you think there's a chance the FDA could be corrupt?
About as big a chance as any other part of our government.
Now, the FDA approval of aspartame was highly contested and subject to multiple congressional hearings and scientific criticism. In fact, aspartame was continuously rejected by the FDA for over 15 years until it was finally approved in 1981. Since that time, the FDA has published a list of 92 symptoms of aspartame poisoning, which includes headaches, vision loss, including blindness, seizures, neurological problems, cardiovascular problems, and death. The FDA even admits adverse reactions to aspartame comprise about 80% of consumer complaints it receives each year. Yet the dangerous substance remains on the market and is consumed by millions of people every single day.
I'm Melissa Melton reporting for InfoWars Nightly News. Project 7, a nonprofit organization, has come out with a trendy new gum product that it claims you can save the earth if you buy it. And while saving the earth might sound like a wonderful thing to do, upon further inspection, things are not what they seem with this wonderful new gum. It was found to contain aspartame, neotame, and genetically modified soy lecithin. Aspartame has been linked in studies to causing everything from blindness to liver damage to seizures. It's been linked to different cancers such as lymphoma, and it even eats holes in the brains of lab animals that it's tested on and eventually causes death. Neotame is far worse, and in long-term studies causes cell death. Genetically modified soy lecithin has been shown to mimic estrogen in the body, causing everything from reproductive issues to cancer to impeding brain development in people who ingest it. This gum wasn't the only gum we found to contain harmful chemicals. All right, so we're here at a store where we're going to see if we can find any gum that doesn't contain aspartame. So let's check. Orbit. Ew, there's something on this too. Aspartame. Maybe it's oozing aspartame. Ugh. It's Orbit. So all of this aspartame, Orbit mist, like a waterfall. Let's see. A waterfall of aspartame, actually. So let's try Trident. Trident white. Let's see. Freshens breath, good for cavities. Aspartame. Oh, let's see. What is this? Stride gum. Aspartame. Trident. Layers. Aspartame. Extra. Let's try extra. Aspartame. All of these have aspartame. Let's see. Wrigley's. Let's try Wrigley's 5. Aspartame. Dentine Ice. Aspartame. Let's see. Is that everything? Eclipse? Did we try that? Let's see. Eclipse gum. Aspartame. Let's try this sugar bubble tape. This is what the little kids like to get all the time because it rolls out. It's really fun. And it's filled with aspartame right there, bubble tape. So, as you can see, we tried. We looked at every gum here, every single gum here, and tried to find just one that didn't contain aspartame, and we couldn't find it. Now, in addition, Project 7 has partnered with and given thousands of dollars to Coney 2012 war propagandists, Invisible Children. Jedediah Jenkins, Invisible Children Director of Ideology, drinking vodka and talking about how he just got a $1 million grant for children's relief after the Haiti earthquake, of which $100,000 would go to the children and $900,000 he would keep for himself. Really makes you feel like you want to donate money to these guys. Now, in addition, Project 7 has also partnered and funds 2 organizations that are co-funded by known elite eugenicist Bill Gates and his Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And Oprah has recently been seen giving out water from Project 7 at some of her events. As you might recall, Oprah likes to take part in secret meetings with known eugenicists Ted Turner, Warren Buffett, and David Rockefeller and Bill Gates, where population control seems to be the constant topic of discussion.
The price of admission is $1 billion and a philanthropic heart, and that meets the pricey requirements recently held in a secret meeting, a private meeting in New York City.
Behind closed doors on this New York campus, a secret gathering of some of the world's most powerful people. Gates, Buffett, Bloomberg, Winfrey. It was like, well, it was like the Super Friends.
So there you have it. Companies like to sell you the trendy idea of saving the earth, that you're going to do something great, it's going to be really good. And in the meantime, you're also co-funding eugenicist organizations and organizations run by corrupt people, and you could potentially be hurting yourself with harmful chemicals. So check those labels, guys. I'm Melissa Melton reporting for InfoWars Nightly News.
Tonight, I wanted to go over the dangers of aspartame and some of the other additives that are invading even so-called healthy organic foods sold by places like Whole Foods here in Austin, Texas, that InfoWars Nightly News comes to you from. And Melissa Melton has filed a report dealing with gum to save the planet that's tied into Oprah Winfrey and other eugenicists that are involved in population control. But first she went out and looked at mainline grocery stores and what they're selling versus Whole Foods. But I wanted to direct you to two new studies just out in the last week and a half published in the National Institutes of Health. Saccharin and aspartame compared with sucralose induced greater weight gain in adult Wistar rats at a similar total caloric intake levels. And we've noticed that the media has tried to spin stuff like this in the past, claiming, no, it just so happens that people that tend to eat too much also like aspartame. That's an excitotoxin, very toxic, and literally hundreds of studies since the 70s showing it causes brain tumors. And speaking of that, here's a new one. Just type into the search engine aspartame brain tumors, and you'll get the corporate media trying to whitewash it. But under that, hundreds and hundreds of studies. Here's one that just came out, October 24th. Consumption of artificial sweetener and sugar-containing soda, risk of lymphoma and leukemia in men and women. And that's published in the National Institutes of Health, and that's the Women's Hospital at Harvard Medical School and a bunch of other universities, the public health program at Boston University as well. So there it is, prestigious. Go look it up. Now listen, there are literally thousands over the years, hundreds just in the last decade. Okay, this is well known. It's a chemical weapon. Now, here's the issue. You think, well, I just won't drink Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi or whatever. I'm going to get away from this. No, you don't understand. I've been to even the so-called healthy grocery stores, and they've got all sorts of weird GMO estrogen mimickers in them and aspartame. You go to the store. I go to the gas station. I've got children. They go, hey, can I have some candy? I go, well, let's see if there's anything. And I've been in hundreds of stores in the last 10 years with my children, and you can never find Orbits. It says aspartame. Here, pan back over to the red one for me, Rob. Right here. There you go. Aspartame. And then it's got some of these other chemicals that studies show are even worse than some of the other gums. So you're looking at that juicy fruit. Now remember, these are not sugar-free. Does that say sugar-free on it?
No, that
does not say sugar-free, and we're going to get Melissa Melton's breakdown on that. Trident, not sugar-free. Dentine, double mint, everything I chewed in my life, everything I enjoy. Big Red, can't have it, can't have any of it, can't have any of it. And guess what? Big League Chew? How about Hubba Bubba for the children here that you get on Halloween when you're out there? Right there, aspartame, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Aspartame. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the facts that we're talking about here. And we're going to go to your detailed video report in a moment. But talk about visiting some of the stores and then talk about what you found at Whole Foods. But first getting into these and that whole stack of other studies from the National Institute of Health.gov.
Right. Well, we went to several stores, and we couldn't find one type of gum that didn't contain aspartame in it. We just couldn't find it anywhere until we got to Whole Foods. But we'll get to that in a moment. They had other things in their gum. And then if you go on the National Institutes of Health, I found 55 pages, full pages of different studies showing the negative effects of aspartame.
Just the links were 55. Just the links were 55 pages.
Pages of links, full pages.
Hundreds.
Hundreds, basically. And so I just tried to pick the first 10. I mean, because there were so many that seemed awful. And I mean...
And by the way, this isn't, you know, some little medical center saying this. It's Harvard.
Yes.
It's it's the top schools in London. It's Chinese government studies. It's Russian. This is not debatable.
National Institutes of Health wouldn't publish it if they weren't legitimate. And so here we go. I've got several more here. The first here says multi-potential carcinogenic effects of aspartame. So that means there's carcinogenic effects, and they found more than one kind, and they were very detrimental. Then you've got aspartame-induced fibromyalgia. So chronic pain that people get, they think they have fibromyalgia, could be actually caused by eating aspartame, they found. We also have antioxidant defense status in the liver. It caused hepatocellular injuries in people's livers who ate aspartame. Then we also have the aspartame beginning during prenatal life increases cancer effects in rats. So when they would feed pregnant rats aspartame, the babies would have cancer.
Same thing with fluoride water they tell pregnant women drink.
Basically, yes.
Anything to hurt that kid.
Yeah. And then you've got cancer of the liver and lung in male Swiss mice right here with the aspartame put into their food. Oxidative stress in the brain. So it stresses out, and that causes methanol found in the blood. So it also hurts your brain, and you can find traces of different things in your blood. And then finally, I found one, aspartame-fed zebrafish exhibit acute deaths. And the ones that didn't die, who were fed aspartame, had swimming defects with an increase in brain inflammation. So
it's an excitotoxin, as Dr. Blaylock discovered over 20 years ago. And understand, viewers, this is a life and death situation. The system created a chemical weapon. The Army discovered it in the 60s. Searle got the patent. Monsanto bought it and got it approved. 3 times to get it approved. Okay? And they've got other chemicals. It's not just aspartame that is in these. Okay? And your kids all day reading this, and every amphibians, fish, mammals, they test them, it kills them. Okay, this is not a game. This is rat poison for humans, and then you go to the hospitals, and they're there to reclaim you. They're there to basically bring you in and suck all your money out while they kill you. And the doctors are so brainwashed, they're just little priest class people. They don't question it either, okay? I mean, you're under attack. Please continue.
Well, and then we went to Whole Foods actually looking for gum that didn't have aspartame. And I will say this, we couldn't find any gum at Whole Foods that didn't have aspartame. But I did see a lot of different products here that have soy lecithin in it, which is an estrogen mimicker in the body, and it can cause everything from cancers to brain deficiencies to death. So it's genetically modified as well. I mean, over 90% of the soy in this country is genetically modified. Also, soy lecithin is actually produced with hexane, which is a jet fuel additive. So that's how they produce.
They're killing us. They're killing all of us. You understand? They're killing you. They know it. It's hidden in plain view. It's the White House science czar in his own book, Eco Science, where he brags. You can look it up online. The whole thing's been scanned. They put stuff in our food and water. They're doing it. And there's thousands of these additives. This is their big one. And so we educate people about how it was in a handful of products. Their answer is flood everything. Kids everywhere. I sit there sometimes when I'm paying for gas or getting something, I watch little kids up there lined up with all their sugar candy. And I'll just start saying to their parents, hey, you know this has got aspartame. And sometimes they go, really? No, it doesn't. I don't get the sugar-free stuff. I know about that. I think it killed my mother. I've had conversations. And they're like, what the? Oh, you can't have that. I mean, you've got to warn people. You've got to warn them. Nowhere does it say sugar-free. People have learned that's dangerous. Their answer was, oh, you don't like that? We're going to put it in everything. I mean, I don't mean to get mad here, but we've got to get out of our trance. What is it like for you to sit here and see this?
I mean, what really bothers me, too, is that, you know, some of these products that have the soy lecithin in it say all natural, nothing artificial, right here on the package.
And that's the stuff they admit is sterilizing people.
They do, yeah. It causes infertility issues. It causes cancers. I mean, it causes all kinds of problems. It mimics estrogen in the body. So, I mean, it can hurt you in a number of different ways. And they say it's all natural. This is all natural. There's nothing artificial in this. But we know that genetically modified soy, I mean, that's pretty much all the soy we have.
Well, you did a report where Whole Foods says we don't have anything unnatural.
Nothing artificial ever. And then they come out and say, well, you know, you can't get away from genetically modified food. So.
Well, here you can't because the rest of the world's like, no, no, no. And they'll do anything they can to get it in the country. It's not about profit. These are Defense Department fronts. This is eugenics. This is total war. And those of you out there that serve the system, you're all being bombarded by it. Cancer is exploding, neurological disorders. They're killing us.
They are. Basically, yes. And this particular gum, I thought it was interesting because it's telling you that you're going to save the earth. But not only does it have aspartame in it and soy lecithin, but it also has neotame, which was an Army experiment that's got everything aspartame has in it, plus even worse stuff.
Yeah, talk about that. In fact, we'll put this here for the document cam shot, and it's in your report, because now everywhere I go, to a Walgreens, to a store, they're like, would you like to give $3 for breast cancer? Would you like to give $5, or would you like to give $2 for this or that? And I go, no, the breast cancer is exploding because of the bisphenol A and the chemicals. I've read all this stuff. They're like, oh, whatever, sir. We just want to find the cure. My mother has it. And I'm like, listen. Everybody talks about let's find the cure. Let's find why it's exploding. I freaking know. I know. Tell people about this. We'll document cam that and tell people about it.
Well, I'm saying, like, they probably are planting a tree. When you buy this, I wouldn't doubt that you are actually...
Oh, I bet the people that run it mean well.
And
What's incredible is the people running all this crap really believe, they don't even know what they're doing.
But this is just loaded with chemicals. I mean, not just the aspartame, which has hundreds of studies to show it causes cancer, infertility, liver, I mean, on and on and on. But it's also got neotame, which has never had a long-term independent study, ever. The only people that have done studies on neotame to say it's safe are Monsanto and Monsanto groups, basically, that they've hired to do studies.
And Monsanto, it doesn't eat GMO in their own cafeterias.
No, they won't eat GMO in their own cafeteria, and they'll spend
That's BBC.
$8 million to defeat Proposition 37 to save you a little bit of supposedly money for changing labeling, which we all know is untrue. But basically, and then it's just loaded with chemicals. I mean, just chemicals after chemicals after chemicals. This is amazing that they would just put that in there.
Wow.
Tell you how good it is.
Wow. Well, again, we've just scratched the surface here. Warn people. Don't be a helpless victim so you know that the mainline gum doesn't have it in it. Get out there and tell people. I'll tell you a brief story. About a month ago, I was in a CVS because I don't have a grocery store near my house. I'm out in the country, so I go to the CVS. And I go up to pay for some stuff at the counter, and the guy goes, "Yeah, I'm the manager here." And I'm like, "Okay." And he goes, "You know, I know that was my store you put on the internet." And they asked me how I knew. I know my store. And like I was supposed to get scared that I'd shot videos in there. And I go, "Yeah. I showed that your nursery water for kids has huge levels of fluoride in it, saying kids need it, when the American Dental Association said 6 years ago, don't give under 6-year-olds this stuff. It causes fluorosis and bone cancer." He goes, "Yeah, I know. I looked it up, didn't believe it. It was true." And I went, "So?" And he goes, "You didn't have permission to film in here." And I'll do whatever I want as a public service. But the thing was, he was like in between, like, "Hey, I'm the authority, but hey, yeah, I saw that was true." And I started preaching to the people there. I said, "Yeah, they still got it back there." And he goes, "Well, actually, we're phasing it out. I found out system-wide and all over because just you have been spreading the word, not us. We're just here telling you about it." People are finding out what it's doing to their kids, and that nursery water crap everywhere is being pulled. They got like 5 brands of it. You warn people, okay? This isn't a game. They're killing these kids. And I'm not going to sit here and put up with it. I want to take our country back and our world back, and I want to arrest John P. Holdren and the rest of these eugenicists. Anything else you'd like to add?
I just think it's really sad that we can't even go to the grocery store and buy gum for our children without having a fear that it's going to cause them cancer.
This is so cold-blooded. Well, Oprah Winfrey, and the rest of them, Bill Gates meeting secret meeting to reduce population.
Yes, they do.
I mean, it's right
David
there.
Rockefeller.
And it's for them, it's saving the earth.
Yeah. That's how they spin it on people. They say, you're going to save the earth, but also depopulate the earth. They got to add that in. So
God almighty, with our modern technology, they say people with proper medicine and health can be living to 130, 140 comfortably. You know, the U.S. population now is dropping life expectancy.
It's actually dropping all over the place.
They're killing us.
Western industrialized nation. I mean, they're all going down.
Yeah, but people out in the middle of nowhere on little Polynesian islands living to 104.
True.
They're killing us. I mean, we're sitting here talking about how we're being murdered.
I can't believe Proposition 37 was defeated. I mean, that just broke my heart. That was my last shred of faith in the system was gone. I had like 2%.
Oh, you know it was fraud.
I know, but it's just, I can't.
Look at this Mentos mints. The only mint you can get now in a major store is Altots. And I've learned they've got lobbyists, people pushing them to put that in there. Folks, you can't even get mints now that don't have it.
You can't.
Icebreaker ice cubes.
Pretty much the entire checkout aisle. Anything you buy in that
is a chemical weapon attack.
You have to look at everything. Yeah, basically.
Of course, you know where aspartame that's now in all the major candies and gums and mints, you know where it comes from? I'm not even going to tell you. I've learned if you tell people, they seem to really want to know. I'm going to tell you this. It comes from a genetically engineered little organism that defecates it. Now, I know you don't believe me. I'm just going to leave that for you. Look up aspartame manufacturing process, and it has to do with E. coli. I mean, you cannot make this up. It just shows how it's all in your face, though. It
is. It's very trendy looking. You know, they got the earth on there.
Oh, it's for the earth.
They're going to say, it says products for good right on there. It says Project 7, products for good. So it's like.
And that's the new thing. Get us to give money that then goes. I was looking at Lance Armstrong, who didn't want the research I gave him about how they're causing the cancer. And he told me to basically go to hell. I noticed, or told the person I had to give him the info, and I noticed that whenever I look stuff up about aspartame, it's like, oh, it's not true. It's like Liv Strong's out there telling you everything's good. Go get your chemotherapy.
Definitely, yeah. Well, and I mean, it's just the fact that, you know, you buy these things, and it's almost like it's a guilt thing. Like, you should feel bad. The earth is hurting.
Oh, no, they guilt you now. When you're, would you like to give $3 to the Cancer Institute? Who knows full well it's all, you know, engineered.
Right.
And I'm like, no. And they're like, no problem then if you don't care. You know,
But so I wasn't even, it was like I wasn't even surprised to find them tied to some Bill and Melinda Gates funded places, because it's like save the earth, but hurt yourself possibly with some of these harmful chemicals. And that thing is loaded with chemicals. Aspartame, neotame, soy lecithin. It's got all kinds of other preservatives, sorbitol. I mean, it's just filled, it's just basically chemicals and a mint flavoring, which is
unbelievable. And we're not even singling them out except for the angle tied to Oprah Winfrey and stuff. Okay, we're going to go to this report, and then we're going to go right back to Mike Adams after the report. Here it is.
Now onto a more serious story, okay, because this one had aspartame in it, and now we have, aspartame linked to leukemia, lymphoma, and a new landmark study on humans. And how landmark was it? Well, over 2 million person-years of study went into this. For this study, researchers prospectively analyzed data from the Nurses' Health Study and Health Professionals Follow-Up Study for a 22-year period. A total of 77,218 women and 47,810 men were included in the analysis, for a total of 2,278,396 person-years of data. Apart from the sheer size, what makes this study superior to other past studies is the thoroughness and with which the aspartame intake was assessed. Every 2 years, participants were given a detailed dietary questionnaire, and their diets were reassessed every 4 years. Previous studies, which found no link to cancer, only ever assessed participants' aspartame intake at one point in time, which could be a major weakness affecting their accuracy. No duh. And thanks to Natural News for pointing this out, because a lot of people aren't going to get this news until people like Natural News, Mike Adams and his crew put it out. Who's the writer on here? Ethan Evers wrote this story. And, we've reposted it. Other people are going to grab it. And, putting this out with their other story about their, diet hydrofluorosilicic acid and aspartame soda, well, hopefully maybe we can wake a few people up, because that's the name of the game. Waking people up just a little at a time.